On this week's episode, we talk about Thunder Force.
Yes, and all the pop culture news.
Alright, so this week we watched Thunder Force.
Yes, the new Netflix superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
Starring Melissa McCarthy.
And Octavia Spencer.
Mm-hmm. Bob Cannavale.
Jason Bateman.
Palm.
Cannavale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know her from
Mantis,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah.
She's Mantis.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Bateman, as you said. Anyone else? I think that's it.
Those are the big ones.
Of course, Ben Falcone. It's directed and written by Ben Falcone. I hope that's his name. I think so.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Clementif. Palm
Clementif. It's a very artistic name. It's
an unusual name.
It sounds so fake. It sounds so like a stage name. There's probably her name. Yeah, because usually it's like that when the name sounds so unreal. It's real.
Like Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, so it's written and directed by Ben Falcone. Before we move on, spoiler alert. So and he is the husband of Melissa McCarthy. And last couple, if not 4 or 5 Melissa McCarthy movies he directed and he written. So good for them.
Yeah.
They working together and they're making it. Some people hate his movies and they say he is dragging her down, but I don't think it's that bad. At least the last 2 we watched was artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
Is that what it's called?
I think so. AI.
But there's another movie
there
called
is.
that. The Spielberg movie.
Superintelligence?
That's what it's called. Yeah, Superintelligence for HBO Max. And this one is called Thunder Force for Netflix. And it's a comedy about superheroes. And he shows in the movie too. He always does like this little cameo. It's more than a cameo. It's more like a very, 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 very small role.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's go real quick through this story.
Okay, the story's pretty simple. We start off in Chicago with... Oh no. So the premise is at some point this ray of cosmic energy hit the Earth and it triggered a genetic mutation in a very small subset of the human population and gave them powers. Unfortunately, the only people who got these powers were sociopaths.
Yeah.
So they're labeled miscreants and go about causing all kinds of horrific harm and damage because they have all these powers. So no one can stop them.
It's a world because of the circumstance of these cosmic events filled with supervillains. Because it only affected the sociopaths. So, yeah.
So we meet 2 young women. We've got Emily, I think this is Octavia Spencer's character. Her parents were killed by miscreants, and they were both like super geniuses. They were working on a way to give superpowers to other people to kind of create a balance and fight the miscreants. And so Emily, after the death of her parents, dedicates her life to this. She's very studious, very focused, lives with her grandmother. Great. And then we have Lydia. I'm pretty sure I got their names right.
Yeah.
Who's played by Melissa McCarthy. And she doesn't do so great in school, but she's just like this tried and true friend. Stands up for Emily, kind of helps Emily have a good time and relax. Really into rock and roll and all this stuff. Well, they get through high school and
She protects her from the bullies.
Yes.
They call her friend nerd. It's like, I'm not a nerd, I'm smart. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I reject the idea of nerd being a pejorative. But anyways. They're just best friends, closer than close. And then they have a huge falling out at the end of high school. And basically never see each other again until they're in like their 40s or something. So we see Melissa McCarthy. She's working on the docks. Like she operates this like super cool mega forklift moving around shipping containers. high school reunion. A bunch of people convince her to reach out to Emily and get her to come. And it turns out Emily's been crazy successful. It's got this like mega huge company, like billions of dollars. And Emily says, yeah, come on over and we'll talk. And while she's there, Melissa McCarthy sort of stumbles into a lab.
She's bitten by a radioactive spider that's hanging there. No,
not quite.
It's a little bit more dumb.
Yeah.
So they talk. They say, hey, I miss you. Yeah. Anyways, like the really close friends, almost sisters for a point in the movie. I thought they were sisters. Anyways, they meet at the top of the building, the lab, the main lab, and through this glass door you see this like big chair, high-tech chair, and what's Octavia's character's name?
Emily, I think.
Emily tells Lydia that that's like the most important lab, the most important part of the project. Don't go there, don't touch anything. And the first thing her character does is like she goes there, and
predictably,
and she gets stabbed by needles.
Yeah.
That I guess
go like straight into her face.
Yeah, and I guess straight for comedical relief, comedical purposes. Yeah. It was on her face.
Yeah.
Not on all on her face.
Arm, thigh, butt.
Yeah, nope. Anywhere but a neck. So she's injected with the project that Emily has, which is because her father and mother were killed by miscreants, those metahumans. Her goal is to fight back, and to fight back, creating good metahumans, creating superheroes on this world of supervillains. So Emily, Lydia is injected with all that, and she's working in two specific powers for superheroes: super strength, right, and what's the other one? Invisibility. So Lydia gets the super strength.
Yeah, and so it turns out once she's had this injection, even though it was on accident, she kind of has to follow through with the rest of the treatments.
Yeah.
So now they're locked in. Lydia she's got these superpowers, period, and also she has to work with Emily now. So they're kind of forced to rebuild their relationship.
Yeah, and they go to the classic training montage, and in this case, is like training in like I guess,
and developing this chick too,
developing, because she doesn't get the powers right away.
Right.
Her body has to build and change naturally, and so like punching stuff and fighting boxing with all the trainers and hitting this, what they call that thing they have on carnivals, that like bing.
Oh yeah, I don't know what they call that, but I think you just described it really well.
Yeah, so it's that thing, like the strongman thing.
Yeah,
like
got the big hammer.
And it's like in measures. So she has that, and like Lee just like was like, why you have that? It's like, because I'm fun. There's some really funny stuff throughout the movie, but there's some jokes that like fall flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not because it's not understandable, It's not like, oh, I didn't get that. It's like, no, I got that.
It just wasn't funny.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Anyways, so she's like, for instance, I mean, I guess this one is kind of funny. There's she has to eat something to to.
Yeah, her dietary needs change because she's got this super strength and different body metabolism and all. And what's the only way to meet those specific dietary requirements? Massive pieces of raw chicken.
Yeah.
She just has to like slurp down in the grossest way possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's a connection for that at the end of the movie, but the connection doesn't make sense too because the guy it's a fish that eats chicken.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways,
I don't know.
so we go to the montage, the training montage, and the same time, and she has to go through all that. And on her last day of training, Octavia Spencer's character Emily takes a pill, a tiny little pill. You know, it's like, what is that? It's like, oh, this is part of my process. It's like, really?
Yeah.
I have to be stabbed in the face and suffer through all that. You just have to take pills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we have it. Our superhero duo. One is super strong, and the other one is that has the power to become invisible, and which is always kind of it's tough to write. Character.
Invisibility?
No, not to make it happen in imagetic, you know, like in the screen.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But it's tough to write because it's kind of a dumb power.
It's not terribly useful in a combat situation.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't really use her power very well either.
And that's what I'm saying. It's
like she could have done more, but quite often, and this is kind of a beef I have with this movie that I haven't had with all of his, like, I just feel like there were a lot of cop-outs. So, like, Octavia Spencer, for example, in most of, like, the climactic action sequences, she gets knocked out almost right away. So, like, what was even the point? And there are a lot of moments where, like, they come up on something that could be really interesting, and then they just drop it and leave it alone.
Yeah.
Like, they, at one point, they go to Emily's grandmother's house, and she's like, look, you might be in danger because we're Thunder Force and people know who we are, and yeah, you might be in danger. And then they do nothing else with that thread. Like, they start it and then they just drop it. So nothing about her family or her daughter or her grandmother.
Again, that was clearly for the jokes. When they go there to visit grandma, and it's like, we have something to tell you, and grandma's like, oh, you were a couple.
Yeah, you're getting married. She even has like a little sculpture.
Oh yeah, that's
a little
right.
statuette of like a black woman and a white woman.
Yeah.
Together.
So it was for the jokes. It was nothing for. I mean, there's a little like a grandma showing strength and saying, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, not leaving my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but like, I don't know, like if here's like the plot line, then you go off in this direction, like, oh, this is an interesting, and then it just stops. Don't do anything with it. We never even see her again.
Yes, that's true.
In the movie, there's another moment where Melissa McCarthy kind of loses it, and she picks up a bus. She kind of gets carried away and trying to stop these bad guys. So she picks up a city bus, empty, and chucks it, and like it just goes. She way overshoots, and it lands in the middle of a street in downtown Chicago. And then nothing happens with it. Octavia Spencer's like, oh man, you shouldn't have done that, but nobody got hurt and I can pay for all the damages. And then it's just done. Like, there were a lot of moments.
It was that one was like terrible timing because we saw that hit some park somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But we only saw like on the next sequence. So it's like she throws and they start talking and talking. We have no idea what's going on there. So next sequence, it cuts to the news and it's like, oh, and this buzz, blah blah blah, hit this part. So it's there's bad timing there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just felt there were a lot of moments where like they were on the verge of something and then just dropped it or opened kind of a can of worms or got into something kind of challenging or difficult and then didn't really do anything about it. Just like shrugged their shoulders like, oh well, everything's fine now. Yeah, and that was disappointing.
So you have the bad guys, and the bad guys are Bob Cannavale. He's a guy running for mayor. He is a miscreant. He's super strong. Yeah. Working for him, we have Jason Bateman's character, the Claw. Is that what they call?
Claw, the crab.
The crab
shell. Crab arms.
Anyways,
I'll look it up. I don't remember.
And he has like he does his backstory, and that's interesting. The crab. Yeah. And that's interesting because we didn't hear any of the other guys' backstories, and he was in the Caribbean, right, or some place like that. Yeah. And when this meteorite, this cosmic energy, hit this pool of water, and then he put his hand there, something like that.
Yeah, he put his hands in it. There was a crab that was affected.
Yeah.
And the crab. like bit him or...
So, at least we get some more details of what his powers, which are super weird. It's just he has like claws instead of...
Yeah. He has crab arms.
Yeah. Which, and there's one scene that he does like the crab walk. It's kind of funny. Anyways. So, and Clementine, whatever. She's called a Lightbringer. Laser. And she spills lasers and jumps in black.
She's got cool, like...
big black trucks. And so there's the bad guys and they attack, they destroy things, they kill people. The guy's running for mayor. He's like a Lex Luthor kind of guy. Nobody knows he's bad.
Yeah, and he's kind of manipulating the whole miscreant narrative for his favor.
Yeah. And so he loses the election while the criminals fight the heroes. And then he's like, okay, it's gonna be like that. They're gonna give this city something to remember me. And he hosts this big party, invite the mayor elected and a lot of other people. And he's basically planning on blow up the place and kill everybody.
Classic.
The heroes find out about that because the crab and Melissa McCarthy's character that assumed the code name Hammer.
Yes.
The first time they clash, they're like, hey, that's this like, I don't know, Batman, Catwoman kind of romance. Yes. And they get closer, they go on a date, which is another comedic moment because the guy at the restaurant offered him shellfish. Yeah. A seafood. And it's like, what?
Melissa McCarthy rubs butter all over his and Old Bay season. Like it gets weird. And then there's a cut to like a daydream she has where it's like it's the two of them in like very 80s attire doing this complicated slow dance.
Anyway, so they get close and he's moving out of his bad ways slowly. I assume. And he tells her the plan that the big bad guy is planning to blow up the party and kill everybody. So they go there and basically save the day. Not before one Kid Flash or Jesse Quick, or call her what you want, the daughter of Octavia Spencer's character, she's my mom and my mom's friends are in danger. The team needs me. She takes a pill, one day, no training, no genetic changing throughout those 33 days, and she's
3 weeks. No, it was like a month.
Yeah, it was 33 days, right?
Yeah.
And she's super fast, and she goes there and help save the day. And and that's it. So the mayor talked to them. So you should try
to have an
get,
official arrangement.
Yeah, put you guys in our team, and then it's like Thunder Force, and the movie is over. Ben Falcone is one of the henchmen of the bad guys. Yeah, he shows up there.
Yeah,
I guess that's it.
Pretty much. It was fun. It had its fun moments, and funny moments, but I felt like I don't know. Like it wasn't funny enough to stand alone as a comedy, and like the superhero side of it wasn't. I don't know.
So what was it? It wasn't a comedy. It wasn't superhero.
I mean, I feel like it was just ultimately kind of unsuccessful. Like it fell short.
Yeah.
If you were to say like, okay, this is a comedy, it wasn't funny enough to stand on to be a comedy, but like the superhero, the plot side of things weren't strong enough to make it like compelling beyond the comedy. It didn't work. Like we watched Top Secret last night, and the story was like predictable,
yes,
dumb, not important. But the jokes were so good, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it was so really funny.
You can't compare those guys with, like, the masters of the craft. They were, like, geniuses.
I guess I'm just using that as an example.
Titans of the industry. They were, like, gods among men, you know? It's like the guys behind Top Secret and Airplane and Naked Gun, and, you know, paired with, you know, like people like Mel Brooks and all he did, inspire new generations that did scary movies, which are not as good as those old ones. And this guy was not even trying to do. It's like things in the Top Secret movie. Things that are so silly. They are hilarious. You know, it's like they on the top of the hill watching with binoculars to see what's going on there, and then it cuts to the classic. You know, black rounded shapes. You know, where just like a binoculars, and they see, and then the cows walk, and it turns out it was not the binoculars. It was.
So like it's stupid, it doesn't make sense, but it was so funny that like you don't need a strong compelling plot because it's just funny. This one I feel like we didn't have a super compelling plot or anything, but it was okay, but like it wasn't funny enough to make up for that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and there's another interesting aspect issue with comedy. Is the question of time. Doing these times, they cannot do some of the things they did back then for many reasons. Some of them are what they did was so hilarious. It was so funny because it was probably the first time people would do stuff like that. You know, like the guy sitting in a restaurant, he opens a note, a letter, and say, "Hey Nick, you can hear off screen. Hey Nick, I cannot make it because I'm feeling really, really bad. So I left this for you." And then the guy starts walking with a sort of a megaphone. Yeah, he's actually there
in the restaurant talking.
So some of those things were funny because of the first time. So to do stuff like that these days it have to be really, really funny or not funny. It would be very creative because otherwise you just, you know, it's not surprising or shocking like that. Other thing is these days there's a lot that that people would say you can't joke about. And you know, a lot of comedians, not a lot of comedians, but some comedians, and you can see that on Ben Falcone, he's gonna play super safe, super safe, you know, because no one wants to offend anyone or to get canceled and all that. So it gonna get close to the boring line because, you know, you can go to all the places comedy used to go and should go, you know. It should not have. So that's why more and more we see comedies that are not hilarious as those, you know, because you can make. I was surprised that he had a lesbian joke there, you know, which was not even really a joke. It was just a confusion for you know.
It was you guys are best friends.
Yeah. So. That's one of the same thing with the other one. The other one that had, you know, it has the super intelligence one we saw. It was like, I don't know. I didn't see, as I recall, I didn't see the other movies he made with her. The trailer looked kind of interesting, at least for the one that she's like rich and then she starts to sell cookies with Girl Scout troops. I think it's The Boss. I think it's called. That one looks. The other one that she steals Jason's Bateman identity is like, that one doesn't look interesting. Anyways,
okay.
But you should check and see. But this one, it's okay. It's fun. It's not dying laughing. There's like some jokes that are gonna fall like so flat. There's like, oh, was he trying to make a joke there?
And in his favor, like, comedy's hard.
It
I
is
don't want
hard.
to like make light of it. It's comedy, but like it's a tough job. I just feel like this one fell short. And also, I kind of had high expectations because I like Melissa McCarthy. I like Octavia Spencer. I love superhero movies, so that could be it too.
Yeah,
but
there's
it was fine.
About the actresses. There's a lot of expectation from her because she had some really funny projects in the past, including Bridesmaids. People love Bridesmaids, and it is funny. But in Bridesmaids, she's like, it's like heavy makeup and accent, and she does this characters. You know, I mean, unless she stick to the heavy character forever. You know, I guess that's not. You can't expect her to be always like that. And about Octavia Spencer, you told me that they were like really good friends for a long time.
Yeah, like.
I guess that's why she was in the movie because honestly, she's not a comedian. She was hilarious on The Help, for instance, but she's technically, I don't remember her in many comedies. And in this one, I don't think she was used very well.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, her character had some cool stuff going for it. Going for her. You know, like the lost parents, the.
Oh, it's cool to lose a parents? What are you talking about?
I mean, it's not cool to lose your parents.
You said it's like just cool stuff.
But when we're talking about a fictional character, like there's a lot of potential there, like being a single mom and
oh, it's cool to be a single mom. Sorry.
And then all the challenges of like becoming a superhero.
It was an interesting
and then like
character,
her power, she did like nothing with her powers.
It's fun. It's ironically, or not ironically, it's like her character was invisible. Who had the power to become invisible, and it's like overall she was kind of like invisible there.
Yeah, I don't know. It just
maybe it was on purpose. Maybe it was a comedy to make you think. Yeah.
I feel like it was a comedy of untapped potential. With all due respect, I know that it's hard to make movies, and to create things like that. Because whenever I say that, like, this movie was dumb, I think of the end of Ratatouille and when
I never seen the
really?
Yeah, I never seen it.
There's this great spiel at the end about how being a critic is so easy. It's so easy to tear things down and to find the bad, and what's really difficult and what's really matters is creating something.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for me to sit here on this couch and be like, nah, this movie.
Yeah.
It was fine. Anyway.
No, I liked it. It's definitely not something that I hated. It's not something to take serious, you know.
No.
But yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Thunder Force.
Mm-hmm.
You can go and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's for a specific audience.
Yeah.
I was saying that comedy these days, you can't go to places because you're gonna, you might offend some sensitive people. And maybe this one has a whole niche of sensitive people that's gonna love it because it's not hilarious. It's just ha ha ha. This was funny. Thunder Force on Netflix.
All right. Okay, there's some other new stuff coming out. We've had some trailers that we've been watching. One is for Picard.
Yeah,
Season 2.
It's a teaser.
It's a teaser, yeah.
It's like most of it's short, really short as teasers are.
And they're talking about a 2022 release.
Yes.
This is still pretty far out.
Yeah. And most of the footage is actually from season one or even his farm, chateau, vineyard.
Yeah, Chateau Picard.
Yeah. So there's nothing we see. I mean, there's something we see. There's like really teasing, but what we hear, it's
Yeah. So it starts with Picard. He's talking about time, how like time is the real final frontier, and how time.
Do you think there's a double meaning? It's like it means time travel too.
Well, what else would he be talking about?
He's talking about how it sounds like he's talking about getting old and
sure.
How you get to the final frontier is like you're getting to the end of the journey, and that means like getting old and you learn everything you can, you do everything you can. And for me, it sounded like that. Well, when he first says it's time, I thought, okay, time travel. But then he started talking about this, and it goes to the farm where he retires.
This is true. I guess I'm listening with science fiction ears, and you hear, Captain or Admiral Picard's. Well, good for you. Good for you. Anyway, so the camera sort of pans around his study, and things start to disintegrate, and we zoom in on a little table, and there's a playing card, a Queen of Hearts, and then it sort of disintegrates except for the letter Q, and then the Q just dominates the screen, and you hear John Delancey's voice saying, like, the trial never ends. Like, what? So they're saying, like, oh, we're teasing Q or hinting. No, this is not a tease. It's not a hint. Yeah. Q is coming, and John Delancey has confirmed he is involved.
I'm pretty sure it's the articles and all that websites, and it's like clickbait.
Yeah.
Because if you've seen it, there's no teasing. It's obvious.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
It's not like you see, like, a big, long, wide room, and like on the far corner of the room, we saw like something on the wall, some dirty on the wall that looks like a Q. No, it was pretty obvious.
It's right out there, and this is, and it's interesting that as you're talking about like him coming to the end of his career and retirement and end of life and everything. Q was his first, in terms of the show, The Next Generation. Mm-hmm. Q was his first antagonist. His first great challenge was going up against Q. At a trial, Q put humanity on trial and had Picard represent them in Encounter at Farpoint, parts 1 and 2. And so I'm so curious.
Yeah, it brings a lot of potential for what's coming. And first season was fun. It was very Star Trek as Star Trek is to this day. Maybe some book, but the shows, the crew, the ship, exploring, fighting bad guys, learning, going through philosophical dilemmas. And last season was there was some philosophical dilemmas. There was some bad guys, but it was like it was short. It was short and sweet. Yep. But it was like this band of uncommon characters, meaning it's like they were all different. They couldn't be more different from themselves, and they band together, and not under a Federation flag, but under an objective that bound them. Yeah. And it was like, for me, it was I liked it. It was like kind of like pirates, in a ship going through a goal, not for the greater good, but not specifically for the greater good, but for them, because they needed to do that. This one, there's like rumors besides the teaser. There's like, for instance, like rumors that Hiker would be more involved. There's rumors that Hiker would have his own show. So we'll see.
I think there's one moment that could be a tease or could just be like making us think about Picard and his past. But it zooms in on the camera as it pans around the study. We see a model ship on his desk, and it's not the Enterprise. And I think it's a Stargazer. So that, I don't know if that's teasing something or if it's just, hey, Picard had a rich and varied past. I don't know. We'll see. Sometime in 2022. And that's
a cool thing, the farther they go to the future, he could go on the opposite direction to tell a story from his early days, like far into the past. Yeah. And Q in the middle. We'll see.
We will see.
Star Trek Picard, or is it Picard? Is that Picard, right? Yeah. It's on CBS. All Access.
Paramount Plus.
They changed the name. Yeah, that's right. Paramount Plus.
Sometime next year.
Yeah, amount of entertainment.
All right. Coming much sooner, June 11th to be precise, is the Disney Plus series Loki.
Yes, the new trailer gives more details. It looks interesting.
Yes.
But
we see Owen Wilson, and it seems like the basic premise of the show is Owen Wilson's like a time agent, and he's kind of roped in Loki to help him fix everything that Loki completely wrecked when he picked up the Tesseract and in Endgame. Endgame.
So that mess of timeline issues on Endgame. The pretty crappy job they did with the whole time travels and stuff. It was actually on purpose. You know?
Yeah.
Or was it? Who knows?
I don't know, but if this is something to fix the plot hole, I'm not mad about it. I think this could be a fun show. Sure. Yeah, no, I looked at the trailer. I like it. I think it's going to be interesting. But, you know, they only wrote this show after they wrote all that. So sure.
I was like, hey, let's use that plot hole. Yeah. A gigantic plot hole and make a show. I was like, fans will not remember, you know, like Zemo dancing or Zemo being a Baron or, you know, Zemo have a completely new orange. I
don't know if it's about fans not remembering. It's so much, or more like fans will forgive, or because like we remember Loki picked up the Tesseract.
I guess the film fans. The people that enjoy this like very nonchalant way, sure. But comic books fans, they remember if something happens in a book, it's like, wait a minute, I'm gonna write the editor right now, you know. So those, so
there's a story I can't verify if this is true or not, but apparently when they were making Man of Steel, they asked Henry Cavill to like shave his chest or something. Because Superman didn't have chest hair. And he was like, no. And he showed him this panel from a Superman comic where Superman's got all this chest hair. He's like, you see here. Yeah. And anyway.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, fans remember. And, I mean...
Bunch of nerds.
I guess it's not forgiven. It's more like a face palm. It's like, those morons. Yeah. And move on. I'll try to move on.
Well, either way, we're getting a series with Owen Wilson, Tom Hiddleston, and Gugu Mbatha. We don't know a whole lot about her character, but
she's
there. She's doing a bunch of stuff.
There's like a time lord kind of. The time cops, time police, time agents. They control the timelines, and Loki messed up with the timeline when he got the Cosmic Cube and got out of the situation he was right after the first Avengers, which is another interesting fact because the Loki we have now, and unless there's some crazy change throughout the show, the Loki we're gonna have after the show is actually a Loki that never went through anything after the Avengers, including him faking his death and taking over Asgard and then fighting Thanos and then dying to the hands of Thanos and then going with that we shall see the sun again, brother, whatever he says on Infinity War. So if he doesn't die like a hero, he's still the sneaky, lying god of mistrust. Mischief. That people love to hate and some people love to love.
We see him, at one point we see him in a jumpsuit that has variant stamped on the back. And so I wonder if that's making
variant?
That like, this isn't normal Loki, this is a variant of those normal timeline Loki, or I don't know.
I guess it's because everybody because everybody works and as time cops, whatever they call, they are like they are unique, and he was picked from one timeline. So he's not unique. He's one of many. I don't know.
We'll see. Time travel it's messy, and personally my favorite. Well, I think two shows have been very successful with it. Doctor Who, for one, where he just says time is sort of wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Like, we're not even going to try to explain this. Just come along for the ride and it'll be great. And personally, I think that's the most successful approach. There's another great line in Star Trek Voyager, because every Star Trek series gets into time travel somehow. But Janeway has this great line where she just is like, oh, I hated time travel physics. Or I hated that class at the Academy. And it was just a great way to just sort of gloss over it. Like, oh, this is complicated and stupid. Let's just watch the show. Personally, I think that's the best way to deal with it, because the further you get in, the more messy it gets, and the paradoxes, and it's just...
Yeah,
At a certain point, you just have to like set aside logic and just accept the story and go along for the ride and enjoy it because it won't make sense.
For me, it's the issues with Endgame was you either overcomplicate and ignore it like these guys, or you simplify it, make it simple and fun and go through it. And on Endgame was kind of like they ignored it. They didn't go for the complex, and they didn't go for the simplified. They went somewhere in the middle that was like messy, and I was like, "What? This does not make sense." Anyways.
Yeah, just like everything's fine.
Yeah,
just
but again, it's counting on the audiences that you're not like, oh, he didn't have a brother. Anyways, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see Loki going through adventures with these people, fighting knives and the classic, what they call horns.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this question of who's manipulating who, like who's on tie? Is it Owen Wilson? Is it Loki? Like.
And I'm pretty sure it's like the Marvel shows. This is only the third Marvel show, as they claim. They're trying to erase everything they did before. The Netflix shows, the Hulu shows, the ABC. Yeah, ABC had a show. It kind of sucked. Anyways, and so this is the third show, and like the other two before, Winter Soldier's running out, and WandaVision. The trailers have nothing. Or show nothing or mention nothing about villains. So there's still more to come.
That's true, yeah.
It could be Mephisto. It's never Mephisto. Mephisto is lupus.
Wait, what?
Mephisto is lupus.
Yes, it's never lupus. It's never Mephisto. Yeah. All right.
Hope on people.
Okay, so Loki on Disney Plus, June 11th.
Yes.
Okay. Netflix and Sony signed a deal.
Yes, big
one.
Like HBO did with Warner. Pretty much, they're all the same. And Netflix gonna get some exclusive content from Sony. They're going to the movie theater and go to Sony and go to Netflix platform.
Yeah, so that'll be starting with Sony's 2022 releases. Netflix is also getting like first look at Sony projects, and there's a whole bunch of other like fine print and details going into it. But yeah, Netflix and Sony are working together now.
And it's a good thing because people that create to sell, and they're gonna sell what the money is, and clearly the money now is on streaming. So for Sony to go with Netflix, still the biggest. It's a good deal. There are already talks. I mean, rumors, like very, very, very quiet rumors, that Sony might do a fourth Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Which, funny thing, it would be a fourth Spider-Man of Tobey Maguire, but also the fourth Spider-Man Sony Marvel, because. Yeah. But there's like still rumors not gonna happen. Yeah.
We'll see.
And another rumors from Spider-Man coming from Sony is that for Into the Spider-Verse 2, I hope that's not the name, but Into the Spider-Verse sequel would have the 90s animation Spider-Man involved, which is cool. It was a really good one.
Yeah, it was. Okay. Cool beans. We've gotten more news from from Indiana Jones. They are making a fifth one, and Harrison Ford is involved, and we've just found out that John Williams is involved, obviously, wonderfully, and they've also cast Phoebe Waller-Bridge of Fleabag fame as what we don't know, but she's going to be in it.
Yeah, could be anything, we don't know. Could be the villain. Could be a daughter that he didn't know he had. I hope it's not that. We've done that already, and
yeah, no, that would be
niece. No, I hope it's not that anymore. I was like, or
maybe just a young archaeologist he takes under his wing.
Sure,
that would be That would be nice.
Yeah, I did work with Ray, right? He was like Ford was solo and had this young lady with him. It could be something similar.
I think like with his age, that would make sense. That would be a dynamic that would make this movie like worth seeing. Like, I don't know.
So
anyway, that's happening. And then She-Hulk. This is another Disney Plus series. They've cast. Oh man, I always forget her name. Renee Elise Goldsberry is joining the show. Not as She-Hulk. I would have been pretty excited about that. But she is joining the show. I just think she would make a lot of sense. Like, so this is the.
Is she tall, strong, and green?
No, nobody's all three of those things. Nobody's all three.
Oh, there's people there. There's people there are one of those things. There's people green out there.
Who am I to judge?
Green and short, yes.
I'm just saying, we saw her as Angelica in the original Hamilton cast, and we know she's strong and can play like the strong,
I guess,
tough female lead. Like it seems, because it wasn't She-Hulk like a lawyer, an attorney.
Yeah, she is a lawyer. Yeah.
I know. To me that makes a lot of sense. But either way, she's joining the She-Hulk team. So there will be more Renee Elise Goldsberry in our lives.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. No, that's not. We forgot Long Halloween. Did you talk about that?
Oh my gosh, I knew I forgot something.
Yeah. So another trailer we saw was the Batman Long Halloween based on the comic book series, and one of those a series that DC adapts into animation movies. And this time, like they did for The Dark Knight Returns, they're gonna do in 2 parts. And the trailer for the first part came out, and it looks good.
Yeah. It does.
Jensen Ackles, I think that's his name. Yeah. He's voicing Batman. Josh Duhamel is voicing Gordon. And that's as far as I know. Yeah. Josh
Duhamel is having a moment.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And it looks fun. It looks good. This is a really good storyline. And it's about this murderer, assassin, killer that kills every holiday.
No, Josh Duhamel is Harvey Dent.
He's Harvey Dent. Who's Gordon?
That's a great question. Billy Burke.
Billy Burke?
Yep.
Where is he?
This guy.
Billy. Oh, Billy Burke. Okay, he was that guy. Okay.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Actually, this is interesting. Catwoman shows up in the trailer, and it looks like she's voiced by Naya Rivera, who passed away.
Interesting.
Like, tragically.
Yeah.
Still fairly recently, so this would be one of her.
Probably one of her last productions out there.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
So. Cool. There you go.
So yeah, Batman Long Halloween is gonna be available. Do you have the date? I think it's May.
I don't remember.
11.
Okay.
For streaming,
that sounds right.
Streaming platforms and Blu-ray 4K. It should be. Really, if you go to Google, and you can put that, it shows like the art and the release date. But yeah, it looks fun.
It does. It looks like Calendar Man is the.
Calendar Man is the guy that they're gonna. Yeah, June 22.
June 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's it for this week. And yeah, we'll see you next week for more news.
Yeah, more movies.
And TV.
And other pop culture.
Yes. May the force be with you.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.
Bye.